Well, it's in the middle of the night, so I hope I don't wake up my neighbors, but I think the volume will work. Go ahead and see if you can translate this. So here's my translation. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we should ask, we know that we have the petitions that we have asked from him. Okay, a couple of textual issues here. I just looked up this one in particular. It would seem that the majority of medieval manuscripts have par to, so it's from him. I'm assuming that's probably better Greek, which might explain why it um, might have changed in some manuscripts. But the manuscripts that are generally considered to be better have to from him, so it doesn't change the meaning, I don't think. It's just again a question of the way things were copied. Now this one here, I didn't notice a second ago to look up. Let me look it up and see what it is. Okay, so again, the majority of later manuscripts have ho on instead of ho on. Means exactly the same thing. This is probably not quite as quality a Greek or quite as good a Greek. Again, it makes more sense that somebody would have fixed the text than that somebody would have messed it up. And so this is the form of the text that the majority of scholars have gone with. It's not even hardly a footnote, not even mentioned in Metzger, because there's nothing really at stake in terms of the meaning of the verse. It's simply a question of style. Well, let's look at the translation in a little more detail. And if we know that he hears us, then this is the protasis, the if part. Then whatever we should ask, we know that we have it. We know that we have the petitions that we have asked from him. Okay. When we know that he hears us. Now, he doesn't always hear us. I think John would agree that sometimes the Lord doesn't listen to our requests. So if we don't ask in accordance with his will, then we don't receive what we've asked. It's not a blank check. We have to ask in accordance with his will. So the grammar here, what kind of a clause does on introduce? That's right, a conditional clause. And on is a subjunctive is coming. Subjunctive is coming. Now it's interesting, this doesn't look to be subjunctive. So there's an interesting grammar question. Why is this indicative? Because oidomen would be first person plural, and then it just indeed it looks indicative, first person plural, active indicative from oida. Oida again is perfect in form but present in meaning. Very interesting. Does not look subjunctive. Again, nobody faults. Grammar is not usually considered to be one of the when we talk about the inerrancy of Scripture, we're not usually worrying about grammar. For one thing, grammar is not a matter of absolute truth. Uh, Grammar is a matter of human convention, and so it's not an absolute truth or error. You know what I mean in that sense. This does not seem to match the normal convention of on. Noun clause, if we know that he hears us, genitive object, because a kud often takes its object in the genitive. Then, so this is the if part, the protasis, then we know that we have our petitions. If we know that he hears us, whatever we should ask. So this is called a conditional relative construction. We have a relative pronoun and then a condition, whether it's ho on or ho on, same basic structure. This is the neuter form of the relative pronoun. A relative pronoun is like a noun ending without a word, and it means who or that in a connecting kind of way. We're relating something. If we know that he hears us in relation to whatever, we should ask. The what in this comes from this neuter pronoun, and on adds the ever. On's a little bomb, throws everything up in the air. Everything becomes contingent. So this, we've seen this before. It's present stem, so it's present tense. Long connecting vowel. It has undergone a crash, but it's crashed with an omega. And so it is a present subjunctive. Metha is middle or passive. But since we are asking, it sounds active in the sense. Let's go with middle. So this is a present middle. I made a mistake. I know it never happens. So it's a present middle subjunctive first person plural from aiteo. And so the condition, if we know that he hears us with relation to whatever he asks, then, this is where the apodosis begins. Then we know that, noun clause, we have the petitions, neuter plural alpha, bingo, that we have asked from him, another relative pronoun. This is the neuter plural alpha, bingo, that is part of this relative clause, a neuter plural ending without a word. So again, we can go with that as a translation since it's neuter. We have the petitions that we have asked from him. Now, men is first person plural. Kappa alpha has me thinking perfect. And in fact, this is aiteo again. But the alpha has been lengthened. The perfect reduplicates a vowel by lengthening. And then the iota said, hold on, it's hanging on for dear life underneath the lengthened alpha. And then the epsilon has been lengthened before adding the tense suffix. This is perfectly regular. Even though it's all mangled up, it's following all the rules. So it's perfect active indicative first plural from aiteo, that we have asked, and they stand asked from him. Perfect tense. We've asked him, and they remain asked in his presence. Okay, so let's pronounce it. Kai ean oidemen hoti akue hemon ho ean itomatha oidemen hoti ekomen ta itemata ha etekamen apautu. Or at normal speed, kai ean oidemen hoti akue hemon ho ean itomatha oidemen hoti ekomen ta itemata ho etekamen apautu. Not my best, but I'm not going to do it again. Hope you have a lovely day, no matter what your theological stripe may be.